Greetings and salutations, everyone. I am throwing in a quick extra review here for this weekend, an unscheduled one, unplanned, because last night, after years of being let down by other installments, I checked out the most recent entry in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film series called The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I thought Suicide Squad versus The Suicide Squad was a bad naming convention, but like you know, Scream and Halloween, we got another film. And like Halloween, the 2018 one, the McBride entry, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre of 2022 is Netflix's sequel to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. And perusing the internet the day that this dropped, it was interesting. So, like Halloween and Scream, there was a lot of hate for some reason, intense hatred for this film from some. I didn't read any of those reviews because I wanted to go in fresh, but I would see, titles of these articles and saw some posts and comments of people hating this, but mixed in were a lot of people also really enjoying it, not understanding what people weren't liking about it. So I was prepared for nothing at all. I just want to kind of see where this film would take me and just kind of see where it went. And where it went was here. This is the synopsis, is that after nearly 50 years of hiding, Leatherface returns to terrorize a group of idealistic young friends who accidentally disrupt his carefully shielded world in a remote Texas town. That's right, same town he's been in hiding ever since for 50 years. And as the trailer indicates, this film also includes the return of the final gal from the original, Sally Hardesty, who at the end of the original film, of course, was just screaming her head off, speeding away in the back of a pickup truck, basically just gone crazy after surviving Leatherface's attack. And as for those idealistic young friends, they're in the early stages of trying to move into and revitalize, well, pretty much gentrify this small town. However, Leatherface is still there. Some situations happen, everything falls apart, and now there's a lot of killing going on. And as usual with my reviews, I'm trying to avoid putting any spoilers in this because it is a short film and there's a lot of room for me to just spoil a lot of cool kills or situations in it. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I think you will as well, as long as you go with the right mindset. So let's go into a few quick non-spoiler related things about this film. First, the good stuff. It's very easy to jump right into this world. Even if you haven't seen the original in years or never kept up with the sequels. And I actually didn't even see part 2 until a few months back, which I did a review for, and I'll put a link for that in my description, even though I'd seen part 3 and 4 and one of the remakes and I think one of the prequels. But it's still very easy to enjoy if you've only ever seen the first one and if you haven't seen the first one in years. The violence and gore in this, they're really on point for the kind of movie this is and the kind of pace that it had and the kind of story that they're telling. They're not throwing stuff in just to see how extreme they can make it, how much they can try to shock you. It all had purpose to what was going on, but was also very violent and gory. Some really gross kills that were really interesting. Also, this film was short. It's a very short film. It's like these old Hammer films that I'd been reviewing. This one's only about an hour and 21 minutes, and for what the story is, that's really all that's needed. Works out well. It speeds right along. And in fact, there's a scene where they reintroduce a character of Sally, where I could definitely see another filmmaker using that as an opportunity to kind of reel things back in, recover a bit, and then launch back into the story, having padded 20 or 30 minutes onto the time. And it really just would have slowed it down too much. So I really appreciate that they just kind of kept it going the entire way. And even though it's only an hour and 22 minutes, that's fine. That's all I need for this kind of movie. So we get a decent story, to set things up. It's not too complicated, a good balance of violence and gore to go with the frights that they try to bring. Slight bits of humor here and there, but nothing too distracting. And they did an excellent job of writing these characters because it's pretty easy to kind of figure out at the beginning who the final character or characters may or may not be, but they didn't completely alienate you from those who are getting killed off. So you even want those rude or annoying characters to survive. They aren't so far gone that you're rooting for Leatherface, which is something that I really need in a horror film. Otherwise, I'm not afraid because I'm not afraid of the bad guy. I want him to win the day. So luckily with this one, even those annoying characters, I wanted them to live. And one final positive note is as far as how they wrote these characters. We have some more progressive liberal characters and some conservative Texans who obviously are going to be butting some heads. But it felt like they didn't go too one-sided on either side of those aspects of it. They didn't play into as much of a predictable way that I've seen in other films. So it was a nice change of pace, at least in my opinion. Now for the bad. Not much, actually. The story itself easily could have been about a different character. Not a chainsaw film, just create a new antagonist and tell the story. It'd be fine without being linked to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. But even that I don't think is a bad thing. I mean, how many times have we seen the same story told over and over just in different ways with different characters being involved? Also, I mean, it does start a bit quick. We get thrown in, it ramps up, and I could have used a few more minutes getting to know some of the characters, maybe just another 5 or 10. But even with that, throughout it, they gradually let you know more and more about the characters that are important for you to know about as they go along, and as certain ones get killed off. Um, and the other thing, it's probably just that the chainsaw is a bit too powerful. I mean, it's cutting right through like thick pieces of wood, just like butter. It even cuts through steel at one point. But I mean, it's a horror movie. I saw some horror movies where there's a guy killing people in their dreams, so I can pretty much accept anything. And finally, I'd probably say that I would have liked to have seen more Sally. I actually think it would be interesting to have a show or a movie to kind of tell the backstory of her character. I want to know what happened after she escaped from Leatherface and now that she's re-confronting him. It's been 50 years almost, so there's a lot of storytelling to happen with that character as she was involved in law enforcement and was obsessed with trying to find Leatherface, who, as they say in the movie, how do you find somebody who was wearing a mask? But that's about it. I mean, anything I didn't care for was really minor, and everything else about the movie overshadowed any small gripes. I think it's a good story, cared about the characters, good violence, good gore, quick running time, and crazy edits. Especially there's a scene in a bus where they even put in like these weird flashes where I was, able to see like something kind of flash up in the background. I had to actually cue it up on my computer and go by frame to make sure that I wasn't just imagining seeing these faces, because I know I saw a face of a woman and something else. But yeah, it was creepy how they did that. It kind of makes me want to go back and watch it again and see if they did any other crazy edits, mixed in like that maybe I'd missed. But anyways, this quick view, this quick video I intended to make is kind of, running a bit rambling. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say about it. If you head into this movie wanting a nice sequel to the original, quick, dirty, gory fun, be open and you'll probably enjoy it. It's currently on Netflix as it is an original film of theirs, so head on over and check it out. And speaking of checking out, thanks for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. Consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon so that way you'll get a notification anytime I put a new video up. Share this video, share the page. All that stuff really does help a lot more than most people realize, and I will see you in the next one.